What's going on, YouTube? It's your boy Mike.
Your girl Roxy.
We're here to talk about AAron Hernandez's death, and we also want you guys to question and comment on what you guys think, and we're gonna give you guys our theory of what we believe happened. All right, so you want to go first?
Go ahead, you can start off.
Well, pretty much we got the news, just like I'm sure everybody else got the news that they saying he hung himself in the cell and what have you. But, as the day was going along, I started to think to myself, why this man will wait until his second trial, beat his second trial, and for the first time since he's been incarcerated, he showed some type of emotion. He even broke down and cried. He was waving to his family. He blew a kiss to his little girl. He was excited. He hugged his lawyers. His lawyers hugged him. He actually has some type of face expression for the first time since we've seen him going to court. And for this to happen days later, it just does not add up whatsoever. You also have his cousin on there. I can't think of the name right now, but stating they spoke Tuesday night. He sounded upbeat. He was looking forward to appealing his case with Odin Lloyd. And, he just felt like, he was just going to be able to be free one day. And then all of a sudden, later on that night, for him to hang himself, it sounds real, real fishy to me. How they saying they found him at 3 in the morning. But my question is, when was the last time they seen him alive before 3 in the morning? You have to account for that also, because I'm sure you do head counts. And, you have to see the person visually with your own eyes to know that they still there and they still alive. What I'm thinking happened was, I don't think it has to do with any inmates in there. I think it has to do with more of the correction officers, because I feel like he had issues with them since he's been incarcerated. He had got into disputes, and if I'm not mistaken, they got physical at one point. So what I'm thinking is maybe 2 or 3, but definitely not one person. I feel like they possibly could have drug him up in his food, got him to a point where he was woozy, dazed, and it was easy for them to go inside his cell and use that bed sheet and choke him to death. And as the other guards, may hold him down while one of them chokes them, or multiple, people choking him at the same time. Because I just don't see why would he just take his life. It just did not add up whatsoever. This guy was so hardcore, and for him to do it at a time when he beat a murder trial, it would make more sense had he lost that case and then this would have happened. You would have been like, okay, that sounds more believable. Doesn't mean that it will be, but it would have made more sense. But now that he didn't and he beat that trial, it just it's real, real fishy. And his lawyer team said they're gonna investigate as well, so they're gonna do their separate investigation. So obviously, most likely, we will have 2 stories: one from the police side, and then one from the side of the lawyers. But I honestly, my belief starting to believe that something fishy's cooking. Um, and I hope they actually do get to the bottom of this, and the autopsy, I'm sure will come out as well, and then we'll see if he has anything in the system. And they also got to also mention when was the time of death. So if he died, let's say 11, 12 o'clock, then question's gonna be why he went all these hours without being checked on, and that's pretty much enough time for something fishy to go down. Because it just does not make sense whatsoever. This wasn't like a weak-minded guy whatsoever. We're talking about AAron Hernandez, who's been pretty much stone-faced throughout this whole time, and for him to actually have something in his favor go right for him, and for him to take his life then when he actually lost the first time, you would have figured he would have done it then. But to wait until 5 years in and and have a good moment throughout this whole time he's been locked up happen, it just does not add up. So you would like to, add
Yeah.
anything to it?
Yeah. I got the news on my news feed. I was real shocked. I actually did a project on him. I'd say about maybe 6 months ago. So to see that on a news feed early in the morning, it was shocking. Um, but the same thing, like Mike said, as time went by, I kept thinking about it. What sheet, or because I just don't see how a sheet can hold up such a big, solid, heavy dude like that. It takes a lot. It takes a lot for you to be able to hang yourself, let alone off a sheet. I'm sure he had several or whatever, but I just don't see that holding a big man like him. Now, it would have been believable. No, not really, because if he would have choked himself, he would, after a while, he just would have passed out. Um, I don't know. It doesn't seem right. It doesn't seem right. Just like he said, he was celebrating the fact that finally he gets an acquittal, and then everybody was saying that he was uplifted, he was upbeat, he was happy. So all of a sudden he's gonna wait 5 years to say, well, I'm gonna commit suicide today. Not that it has not happened, but it just doesn't sound right. My theory was he wasn't liked in prison. There's been several stories of him getting into fights and things like that. So I feel like he was probably, I don't want to say cocky, but just intimidating, and also the fact that he was able to get acquitted from this case, and he was going to push forward to get the other case hopefully turned around, however Baez would have helped him. But and I feel like he wasn't liked by the correction officers, and I feel like they set him up. Just like Mike said, I don't think it had anything to do with the inmate. That would be very, very unlikely. At that time, they're not going to be having rec at that time. And no inmate should be in any other inmate's cell at that time without anybody knowing anything. And when you hang yourself, it just, they were skipping a lot of things. How did was there anything under his feet that he could have kicked off to make him, stay in that position? Or, it just, I just don't see it with a big guy like him. I don't see it. I don't see that happening. A big guy. So I'm sure in the system, they have to go around, necessarily, yes, for head count, but I think that there is like a computer that they have to go back in and put, basically chart, just like in healthcare, what that person was doing that, throughout that time, because everybody in prison is on suicide watch. Not necessarily in a cell or anything like that, but everybody knows that your head in there is not going to be stable. So I feel like everybody there needs to be on a close watch. It just makes sense. I think that also, there's no way in a short amount of time that he could have put everything close up to his door to barricade, like they were saying, to be able, you're going to tell me you didn't see that sheet that he was making, or he was, now they're saying he wrote something on his forehead. Like, come on, man. Like, no, that just does not sound right. Because you have to be putting something in that system, like at 12:05 a.m., whatever was, they were in bed or whatever, because they don't say, oh, watch TV. No, everybody goes to sleep at the same time, whether you're just laying in your bed or you just sit, go to sleep. But they don't stay up watching TV, reading newspapers. No, they do that for a reason. They have lockdown for a reason, so that they can control what's going on. They can control and be able to have things not escalate and things like this happen. So somebody's going to be accounted for that. Somebody has to say, on the job you fell asleep, or on the job you just did not do your job, and go check on everybody. Because there's no way that he's barricading and you guys are not noticing that, or like saying to yourself, why is he putting these things in the door and not investigating it? It doesn't sit right with me. It's possible, but with his solid weight, we're talking about a dude who's like a good 220 solid. I may be wrong, but I know he's somewhere up there.
250, 260.
And I'm talking about solid muscle. Gonna hang himself from a window. 6'6",
if I'm not mistaken?
Yes, he's a giant.
That doesn't make sense. I don't think that would have held him up. Also, what I'd like to mention is he was on the verge of having his first trial appeal. On an appeal, why would he take his life and not wait to see what was going to happen with that before he came to this?
Yeah, and going back, I know that Mike was saying that they could have put something in his food. Possibly, but I don't think that happened. I think they went in there when he was sleeping. And they were, because, when you're sleeping, you're not going to wake up with full energy. You wake up like, what's going on.
Right. They could have caught him sleeping. They could have yanked him up real quick.
Right.
And,
like, they could have had it planned. But again, we don't know what happened. But
also, they also wanted to mention that he had some belongings blocking the doors.
But that's what I was saying. Those are red flags.
Right. What I like to say to that is what he could possibly had in his cell to have blocked that door.
And
you can't move your bed. What, you gonna put your worthless mattress there? What he could have also had possibly a TV, but that's not gonna block anything. What else he really gonna have? A big ass desk? I mean, what you gave this man to put anything that could possibly be blocking a prison door? So it just doesn't make sense.
I also want to make note, like I was telling Mike earlier, his family knew him as AAron, as a family member. They were shocked. But Baez to know him as the criminal AAron, to actually get a reaction from this man, to be able to actually, like, you could tell he had more of a bond with Baez than he ever did with his other attorneys from Lloyd's case.
Right.
So if Baez is like, wait, what? I'm going to investigate that. That lets me know that he feels some type of way, because he knows him as that criminal, what he's thinking, and that mindset in a jail cell. Nobody can really understand him unless they're defending him, like the lawyers and are, and if you're AAron, like I said, everybody knows him in different labels, different circumstances, but for his defense lawyer to be like, that just does not feel right, or that just does not sit right, that makes you question, like, you already know that the system's corrupted.
He even said that himself, that he spoke to Hernandez and he was looking forward for the whole appeal process, and he was on the verge of reuniting with his family. Yep. And that it just, doesn't add up, because everybody that spoke to AAron Hernandez, even Mike Pouncey, one of the players he played with in college, he even said he spoke with him 2 days ago, and he said it sounded upbeat. It doesn't make no sense.
He had a life sentence. I think that he would have killed himself during that case.
Right. And why would he have wait for this case?
Yeah.
To do something? It makes no sense.
I just hope that justice is served for him. And for his kids, his daughter and his wife and his family, and he's not the only one suffering. I feel for his wife. She went through a lot, having to deal with everything that went on with the Lloyd case, and then now having to deal with the news she got this morning, so prayers up to them, and I hope, they find the people that did this, or if he did commit suicide, that he still rest in peace. And, I hope that they seek the proper justice for him, because a lot of things get overlooked. So I hope that he is able to, that his wife is able to get the answers that she deserves, and the family can, continue their life peacefully. You know, it's gonna be hard, but you know, we'll just have to see what happens. So hopefully they get the people that did it, like I said, or if he did it, he did it. So we'll just have to find out.
All right, guys. As this case continues to be investigated, we will continue to update you
Update.
guys, see what they do with the autopsy, see what their findings are, and then we give our take as that time comes. Um, don't be afraid to let your voice be heard. Comments on the blog below. What you guys think. If there's any questions you guys like to ask. Feel free, and we see you guys soon. Thank you.